Hi, this is Dr. Otto, Janke, and thank you for being with me today on AChiroRising. First of all, have you gotten the 7 essential articles? You got to have the articles. If you want to play along in the game, you got to have the articles. If you don't have those, you can just email me or just shoot a message down below that says, listen, I don't have these articles and I'd love to have them, and we'll get them to you. The vast majority of you who opted in when we sent these out already have these, but if you don't, let me know. So you're going to see today that we're going to talk about, I think, is a phenomenal study. A phenomenal study. And it's something that happens with everybody in your practice, the vast majority of people you know in your practice. And it's on Atlas realignment and watching it decrease blood pressure. A great study. Came out of the Journal of Human Hypertension. This is in 2007. Again, we're in January of 2018. This is an 11-year-old study. And the vast majority of chiropractors don't know about this. Your MDs have no idea about this. And your practice members who are on 1, if not 2 medications don't know about this either. See, they think that as soon as they have high blood pressure, they have to be on a medication. I don't blame the MD for doing that, because that's all they know. I mean, if you're a fireman, all you know is to put out a fire. You don't know about maybe restructuring the house to be better, be built better, or fire retardant. You know, to put that fire out. I don't blame them for that. I blame us for not telling the story. Tell the story. So it's actually research number 6 in the packet. Atlas vertebrae realignment. What's that sound like to you? Yeah, an adjustment. An achievement of arterial pressure goal in hypertensive patients, a pilot study. Again, it's from the Journal of Human Hypertension. What the cool thing about this, 2 great things about this. One is it comes from Rush University. It's not a chiropractic study. It's not a chiropractic college putting on the study. Because when it does, we think, oh, it might be tainted a little bit in the ideology and the outcomes of this. Rush Medical in Chicago. The other really cool thing about this is the second researcher is Marshall Dickholz. And who's Marshall Dickholz? Senior, by the way. Marshall Dickholz Senior. Marshall Dickholz Senior was a massive, fantastic upper cervical chiropractor. And what they did was, got these patients, tested them, high blood pressure. They adjust them one time with Atlas orthogonal. Boom. Tapped it right there, tapped the Atlas right there, and they watched the blood pressure go down. And here's the thing, here's the conclusion. This is the conclusion which you should all be using. The conclusion that restoration of Atlas alignment, tell your practice member, communicate that the Atlas alignment means we're going to be adjusting you because you're subluxated. It's not aligned correctly. This is associated with a marked and sustained reductions in blood pressure. This is the key point. Underline it. Put it up on your whiteboards. Put it on your newsletters. Tell people all over. Similar to the use of a 2-drug combination therapy. 1 adjustment, boom, was just as good as 2 medications. If this was, so let's take this back in a whole different type of thinking. If this was a 1 drug which could do the job of 2 drugs, do you not think that this would be on TV all the time? It'd be on TV all the time. There'd be the most fantastic studies. Hey, listen, by the way, our new research shows that we're only going to give you 1 medication for your blood pressure instead of the 2 that you used to have. This is how much better it is. You and I both know there'd be millions and millions of dollars every single day put upon the commercials on TV. You watching it 17,000 times a day. There would be articles and papers. It'd be on the early morning TV shows saying this is revolutionary. By the way, when this came out in 2007, they had it on the early morning shows. They would reference this on early morning shows. And on one of them they talked about how, well, it's only a short-term study because it was like 8 weeks. And they said, well, it only lasted for 8 weeks. No, it's not that it only lasted for 8 weeks. It's that they had to stop the study sometime. They actually got to do the research. You got to do the pre and post. You got to do that. You just can't have it go on forever. How would you know? And they said, well, we don't know what the long-term effects is. Here's what the long-term effects are, is that the blood pressure decreased the same amount as 2 medications. Tell your practice members about this. Ask your practice members when you're looking at their intake form. And they're going to tell you they're on high blood pressure. I mean, it's sad in America right now. There has to be almost an assumption, and I'm sure you're going to agree with this, there almost has to be an assumption that your practice member is on either blood pressure or cholesterol medications. It's almost an assumption. Over the age of 40, 45, if you're a male, you have to almost assume that. And if they don't tell you that, ask them. By the way, are you or anybody you know on blood pressure medications? You are. Oh. Can I show you the study? The study shows that that by adjusting the upper cervical spine, and by the way, I'm not an atlas orthogonal guy. I'm not an upper cervical guy. But when I first started practicing 8,000 years ago, 26 years ago, is that I would take blood pressure pre and post all the time because I was maxing out seeing those 2-3 people a day. Phew. Whew. That was rough. 2-3 people a day, so I'd take their blood pressure before and after. And I would see 8 to 10 point decreases all the time. I mean, it was common, very, very common. So tell your practice members about this. Ask them about this. I don't cure anything. I never have, I never will. But if we can get the nervous system working better by adjusting someone, we see the body function better. We see it function better. What would be one of them is that the blood pressure gets better. It normalizes. It normalizes. It normalizes. And that's the key thing about it. So use this study. I mean, it's one of these landmark studies that I use all the time. I use it yearly. I roll out some of them, as I told you before. I roll out some of these on a regular basis every year. This is one of them. This is one of them. So use this study. Ask the person in front of you. When you're doing your healthcare talks, ask the people, how many of you here on high blood pressure medications or know someone who's on a high blood pressure medications? The wives are going to be saying, oh yeah, my husband is. When you're doing your talks out in the public, ask people. And then reference the study, because people always want to know about the studies too. So this is Dr. Otto Janke for AChiroRising. Coming up later on in the month, we're going to start a subscription program, which we're going to be sending you videos just like this. We won't be doing them here anymore. I'll be sending you videos specifically on this. And I'm going to teach you how to not only have the research, I will get the research for you. I'll get it for you. Then we're going to tell you the highlights of those so you can communicate them easier to your practice member, your practice, and then your community. Real important stuff. You got to have the research, but then you got to be able to communicate it. So get the highlights of the research. I'm going to show you what the highlights are. And then we're going to be able to use this on a regular basis. Communicate chiropractic. Become the top person in your area. Become the expert in your area. How do you do that? You let people know that you're the expert in the area. That's really what it is. I'm Dr. Otto Janke. This has been AChiroRising. I'll see you in the next video.